The United Nations and the African Union are working together to find a peaceful solution to the conflict in Sudan. The two sides met at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on Tuesday to map out a way forward. Well, for more on that story, we're now joined by Michael Dunford, who's the Regional Director for East Africa UN World Food Programme, or WFP. He's joining us live from Nairobi this hour. Michael, what is the humanitarian situation across Sudan as it stands?
The situation in Sudan today is an absolute catastrophe. It's a disaster caused by the conflict that's now been raging for the last 2 weeks. Before this conflict started, there were already over 15 million people acutely hungry in the country. That number has dramatically increased. We don't yet fully understand or know just how many people need humanitarian support because the situation is unraveling on a daily basis. But we know we have a catastrophe building both inside the country and in the neighboring countries, and we need the conflict to stop now.
Right, and Michael, do tell us more about what the WFP is doing to help those in need.
So WFP has just lifted a suspension and we're now scaling up our response. We are actually doing our first distribution since the crisis started today, providing support to existing refugees. We're also now planning how we are going to meet the additional needs that have been created by this conflict. Sudanese who have been displaced, people who have been forced from their homes in Khartoum and other centers who are now desperate for humanitarian assistance. WFP also provides the backbone for the humanitarian response with regards to logistics, with regards to emergency telecoms, and in fact, through the UN Humanitarian Air Service. And so we are now putting all of the corporate assets in place to meet these ever-increasing needs.
Right, and finally, Michael, you do mention that it is an unclear situation, but looking at the ground, what else is needed both in Sudan and beyond?
Well, as I said, first and foremost, we need peace. We need the conflict to stop. We need the protection of civilians. And we also need the humanitarian access to allow colleagues of mine and others from the World Food Programme, other organizations, to be able to provide the support. There'll be a need for food, there'll be a need for health, there'll be a need for water and sanitation at a minimum. I really have very sincere concerns about what this crisis is going to mean for the region. And it was a region that was already severely impacted because of climate change, as seen on that recent story of yours looking at Somalia. We need the situation to improve dramatically, quickly, and we need the international organizations to really step up further.
All right, Michael, thank you very much for joining us this hour on Africa Live. Michael Dunford, who's the Regional Director for the East Africa UN World Food Programme, joining us live from Nairobi.